Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Ms. Shabana, Associate Professor Computer Science from Department of Computer Science. Today it is our first online lecture with the fourth semester of BS Computer Science, and subject is database, and the topic is entity relationship diagram, ERD. Okay students, as you know that previously we have discussed about the database and the life development cycle of databases, and we have also discussed different phases of the database. So we know that in analysis phase we discuss or we do analysis about any organization जिसको आप कंप्यूटराइज्ड करना चाहते हैं, उसके लिए उस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को एनालिसिस करना बहुत ज़रूरी होता है. In the analysis phase, at the end of the analysis phase, we will have a diagrammatic representation of the whole organization, and that is known as entity relationship model. Now, here we take start. Okay. Now, what is entity? We know that entity is anything about which the organization wants to keep information. It could be object, person, company, event, anything which is important for the organization. Entity has attributes, like people have names and addresses. Entity set is a set of entities of the same type that share the same properties. For example, set of all persons, companies, trees, holidays, like you students, all are students and they share some common attributes. What are attributes? An entity is represented by a set of attributes, that is descriptive properties possessed by all members of an entity set. मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर आपके पास स्टूडेंट एक एंटिटी टाइप है या एंटिटी सेट है, तो उसके डिफरेंट पॉसिबल एट्रीब्यूट्स हो सकते हैं. जैसे यहाँ पे इस वक्त इंस्ट्रक्टर इज़ एन एंटिटी and it has many attributes like ID, name, street, city, salary. And similarly, course is an entity and it has attribute course ID, title and credits. Domain, the set of permitted values for each attribute, that is known as domain. Suppose you take here instructor as an entity and name is the attribute. Now, what are the possible name values for this name attribute? It will form a domain. And similarly, the possible values for the ID, it will form another domain. Okay. Attribute types. There are different types of attributes. We have discussed some of them in our classes. In our previous classes, let's have a look over it. Simple and composite attributes, single valued and multi-valued attributes, and derived attributes. Now here is the explanation, a little bit explanation. You can see a simple attribute is the attribute that consists of a single atomic value, means which cannot be broken into further parts, like salary. Salary is the attribute and it is a meaningful form and it cannot be broken further into meaningful parts. Composite attribute is the one which is not atomic, it can be broken into different sub simple or single atomic attributes. For example, we take address. Now address is a composite attribute. It can be broken into house number, city. Similarly, name is the composite attribute like first name, middle name and last name. So name, here you can see first name, middle or initial and last name. And now address, you can see street, city, state and postal code. Now street again can be further divided into street number, street name and apartment number. So these are the example of a composite attribute. But here first name is atomic, middle initial name is atomic and last name is atomic. You cannot break them into meaningful parts. Okay, single valued attributes versus multi-valued attribute. As the name shows, that attribute which hold a single value, which can hold a single value. Like we take again, if city, now city can take a single value at one time, either Islamabad, either Karachi, either Mardan, either Peshawar. You will give one value at one time. Similarly, customer ID, or if I say class number of a student. Now any student can have a single class number at any given time. If we take a date of birth of a person, so it is also a single valued attribute. A person cannot have two different types of date of births. Multi-valued attribute that hold multiple values at any given time. Suppose here is an example. The customer can have multiple phone numbers, email ID, your address, so that is residential address, your permanent address and your email address. So address is what? It is a multi-valued attribute. Similarly, a person may have several college degrees. So a college degree is a multiple or multi-valued attribute. Derived attribute. An attribute that's value is derived from a stored attribute. Here we take suppose example age of a person. Now date of birth is stored attribute and you calculate the age of a person from its date of birth. So in this case age is derived and date of birth is stored attribute. Another example of this is salary, which is again calculated at the time by having gross pay, net pay, taxes, etc. etc. Here is a entity set. Now this is an entity set for an instructor and this is an entity set for a student, and these are instances. This is one instance, this is another instance, this is another instance. So all these forms combine together as what? Entity set. Now here are different types of students like Shankar, Tanaka, Brown, Ayu. These are all students, different types of students, but all together they form a entity set student. Entity set is also known as entity type. So instructor is an entity type and student is an entity type. Relationship. Now what is relationship? A relationship is an association among several entities. यानी आपके पास एक एंटिटी का दूसरे एंटिटी के इंस्टांसेस के साथ जो रिलेशनशिप होता है, दैट इज़ नॉन एज एसोसिएशन. जो एसोसिएशन है दैट इज़ नॉन एज रिलेशनशिप. सो नाउ हियर दिस instance is associated with this first one. Now the second one is associated with the two different instances in student. Yeah, we can take an example that one teacher